Then what exactly are they insured for? Our free dream wedding. In an attempt to not dox myself, this story is going to have several details somewhat less than fully truthful, which shouldn't impact the story too much. I hope that is okay. Else this can be removed and I will not complain. My then fiancé and I had planned our wedding right when COVID was hitting the news. She, a lawyer, thought it might be good to get some event insurance, which would cover cancellation due to any really seriously impactful change to our wedding plans. For example, something out of our control that meant X% of guests could not attend on Y timeline, including causes such as weather or pandemic. The insurance company agreed on several conditions, one of them being that they would be the ones to negotiate rescheduling costs, which we thought was fine. My fiancé commented on how that would backfire on them, as they would need to negotiate with her new mother-in-law for one of the services. We covered the venue, staff, caterers, florist, and all other supporting services, which we had mostly given full payment in advance by this point. They wouldn't insure the bar services, oh well. When COVID immediately took hold and we had to cancel all our plans and reschedule, the fight with insurance began. We had to get our own lawyer, which is when I learned that my wife apparently had the insurance company by the balls. It's still not finally over, but we have thus far achieved the following results. In chronological order, the judge confirmed that my fiancé's contract provisions were perfectly sound. He noted that her provisions for a cancellation and rescheduling timeline were very generous. This part alone took about 6 months. The judge asked the insurance company lawyers to describe some reasonable circumstances that we could make a successful claim. If not the circumstances in question, what exactly are they covered for that you might sell them insurance in good faith that it might be exercised? Quote, no good answer was offered. From the reaction of the judge, our wedding rescheduling costs for all services were put into escrow. It happened when the insurance company lawyer pissed off the judge by asking him to recuse himself, as he was insured by a subsidiary of their parent company. This didn't go over well at all when the judge pointed out that if they were able to retrieve his data, they were indistinctly acting as a single entity from their parent, since they directly represented the information. Amusingly, several of our services were yet to actually be confirmed by the service provider, as we had intended to trim down many of them. The vendors did not let on to this fact when asked, so the amount in escrow was well in excess of anything we ever intended to shell out. The vendors and the insurance company have yet been unable to successfully and wholly reschedule. Only the florist is able to meet the commitments required due to COVID. The timeline has now been exceeded and the escrow account was transferred into our accounts. The contract has been fulfilled and we're now quibbling over crumbs. The insurance company is being fined and must perform external audits. The insurance company lawyers are being chastised heavily by the judge for their conduct in court. We lose our battle for our court costs, but they didn't amount to much in the grand scheme. All the service providers, being local or family, have decided to provide free or at cost services to us for any future wedding. We're trying to offer to pay and they just refuse. I ended up putting all the money into GME and made a tidy profit on that as well. Not crazy, but more than 25%, which just put us at our retirement goal. We're not close to retirement age. It's been a good year to us, so we donated 20% of our savings to charity today. Support your local nature conservancies. And a good portion of it is insurance money. We did a small private ceremony during the proceedings and will eventually do a proper redo with family one day. Maybe. I'd love to hear more details, but I understand why I can't. Our local science fiction was saved a lot of dough when the hotel for our convention wanted to charge us despite the fact they were the one that closed. The person who takes care of the contract is an old purchasing manager. She always writes in a force majeure clause in her contracts. The hotel always scoffed when they came back and demanded what we should pay $, because we could not make our room block. She called them back and pointed out the number, paragraph, etc. of the contract. Granted, the person was not the sales manager we had worked with, but they quietly read down the pages. There was a long silence. Then they said, "Never mind. Sorry. No. Sorry." She could not demand $10,000 ASAP. The other service providers sound like they made bank on this too. Hence not wanting to charge you for future business. That. Or they're just that happy to see an insurance agency get put in their place for once. Steve Letho would be interested in doing a video on this. Normally an automotive lemon law attorney, but reporting on almost anything since the virus started. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook contacts. That's a very handy wife you landed yourself. The good old acts of God exclusion. I got fucked by budget RAC on that with hail damage in Florida. Despite them verbally saying, any damage and you walk away with the LDW. My insurance covered it, and that's how I learned never to buy the rental agency coverage. I love Steve Leto's videos. I'm guessing GME is one of the lies. Smiley face. The insurance company must have spent as much money on their lawyers as on your claim. Also, did they make you sign a non-disclosure agreement before you got your dough? How did they pressure you into it? Congrats on your serendipity. I love that you donated to a nature conservancy. If you win all court dates, how can you lose the claim for court costs? How does that work? And what is an escrow account? What's a GME? And glad you were able to make the best of the situation too. I'd bet so much money it's fucking Allstate. They feel no obligation to pay claims. Asshats. I believed it until the part about GME. I have only ever had one dealing with an attorney. I was riding my bike, pedal, and got hit by a truck that was not paying attention. After a bunch of back and forth BS, we ended up going to mediation. The end result was that the driver's insurance settled for max policy and the property owner, real estate company, ended up paying all my medical bills, plus a nice settlement afterward. The funniest thing was at the end of the mediation, the attorney for the real estate company hand wrote an NDA, which my attorney said was uncommon, but not unexpected from this company. I guess they were concerned about bad press. D.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.